am putting together a backpacking thing, I separate out, I gather my 10 essentials. In this case, it was just the backup stuff I needed. But I'm also looking at 2 lists and 2 websites. I go to mountaineers.org and I find the 10 essentials. And I go to the Leave No Trace site and I look at the Leave No Trace ethics. And there's 7 pieces in there. And one of them is plan ahead and prepare. And, a day hike around town, no big deal. But a backpacking trip, one of the first things you do is you tell somebody else where you're going and when you expect to be back and when you want them to blow the whistle and go, okay, she's way late. Where is she? And start looking. Okay. There's other pieces of the Leave No Trace. We're going to fold it into this whole conversation. It's the basics to travel on a durable surface. I'm wearing backpacking boots. I've got a lug sole. Lug soles really tear up wet surfaces, tear up off-trail stuff. A durable surface is the regular trail. Again, if you happen to be from the Southwest or practically anywhere in Colorado, you've seen rogue trails as you've been out hiking. Rogue trails are when somebody decides to take a shortcut. They are the fastest way to destroy a trail going. So we'll talk about that further as we go through the whole conversation. So let's get to the backpacking part. Piece. I have to wear boots. Not everybody does. You can wear trail shoes, especially if you got a lighter weight pack. If you got really strong ankles, I don't. Broke my ankle years ago. Basic stuff on your footwear starts with the sock. Okay. You don't want a super squishy, soft, fluffy, lovely little sock. You want a densely knit, tightly woven sock that doesn't compress when you're hiking. And you want one that actually fits your foot. And the last thing with footwear is the insole that they put in most boots is junk. And this is something that will give you proper arch support, proper heel thing, and a little extra cushioning in the toe. And don't buy your boots online. That's all I can say. Okay. You definitely want to be fit. Okay. So this is my pack. It's rather sloppily packed at this point because I had to go find some extra stuff that I didn't have at home. I'm going to start pulling things out. Being Colorado, rain gear, super light, super simple. The pants and the top, no fuss, no muss. I keep them at the top of my pack. I'm going to unpack this as we go, and then we're going to repack it. Okay. So lightweight rain gear where I can reach it because summer hikes gets wet around here. All right. Here's my backpacking warm combo. Okay. You saw my balaclava for day hikes, etc. Okay. So in this little container, I have my glove stuck, my favorite hat of all time right here.
It's you.
It's me. I know. But I love this hat for several reasons. It's got a little drawstring on it. So it's a drawstring bag. It holds my jacket. So second thing that I always carry and have near the top in case it gets cold, starts raining all of a sudden, and then the rain stops and it gets windy and whatever. A simple lightweight jacket. This is synthetic so that the rain's not going to bother it. And I try to always have a hood on my jackets, my rain jacket, my lightweight jackets. Always have a hood because it's the easiest way to contain your heat and keep you going. And, there's the old adage about you lose 50% of your heat out of your head. Well, the more you can cover your hands, your head, your neck with a neck warmer, all of that's going to really help you regulate your body temperature. So, and this is super light. And if it gets wet, I'm okay because it's not losing all its insulation. So simple, lightweight synthetic jacket that packs in on itself. So where'd we go? And then, I've been doing this for 30 odd years and I got a brand new favorite sleeping bag about 2 years ago. And I got a brand new pair of favorite gloves. Okay. And you're like, it's a pair of black gloves, Ann. Really? Yeah, it is. I mean, unzip the zip because it's getting a little chilly or it's getting a little wet. and pull it out. And I forgot to detach this, but I can get it in there. And I have an outer shell on my glove.
Wow.
And I just turned those into a super warm pair of
I want a
gloves.
pair.
When you're looking at your gear, which I'm going to tell you, don't go run into the store. Stop and pull out all your gear. Don't forget to dig into your ski stuff. Find what you've got, figure it out. All right. So on the outside of my pack, something else I have, this funky little pad. It's a Z-rest. It's a seat pad. It also doubles up to become a supplement to your pillow. Okay. But it keeps you from having to sit on wet ground. It gives you some place to put your feet next to your boots when you put your boots on, sitting in the tent or taking them off. You're not juggling around. Simple little thing. I think it's on the order of about 6, maybe 8 ounces. So keeping it light, keeping it tight. Sits on the outside so I can pull it out at lunch. And, you know, we talked about durable surfaces, and rocks are one of those. And, you know, you sit on a rock for about 30 minutes, your behind is not as happy as it could be. Okay. So simple little item. Okay. Move this stuff over here. So you see in the clothes, that's one of our 10 essentials. You know, we got our first aid kit. We also know we have our gear repair in here in case I tear something. There's stuff called Tear Aid. It's this like super tenacious, there's stuff called tenacious tape also. But Tear Aid and tenacious tape will patch a hole, a tear. On a hike once years ago, back when I was testing out hydration bladders, I got a quarter mile down the trail and brushed a bush that had thorns on it and actually punctured a hole in my hydration bladder. And I'm like, about 5 minutes later, I go, I'm getting wet, and realized my bladder was leaking. And I had 8 more miles to go before I got to the river. And fortunately, I had a backup. So, but my repair tape. I also carry some basic stuff like little heat pad. Somebody's in trouble, it works. My personal experience with emergencies on the trail or traveling or whatever, if I cut a finger, no big deal. You know, you scratch yourself, abrasions. But things like knives that are super sharp, they slip, they cut big. I'm a huge believer that it's easier to cut a gauze pad down than it is to try to weave a bigger one when you need it to staunch the bleeding. Emergencies are emergencies. I carry some of that funky self-stick tape to smack something on. And I just go a little bit heavier in my first aid kit because I found myself in situations just often enough that it's smart. You don't need everybody in your group if you're with a group carrying a little bigger first aid kit, but if you know what to do with it, then do it. Also in here, there's a quick plot thing here. This is left over from my canyon trip. I got a signal mirror. And if anybody read about the llama ladies a couple of years ago that got lost, the plane going overhead or the chopper, whatever it was, actually saw the signal mirror.
Yeah, they're good for every day.
They're good for every day. It's not usually on the list and it's rarely in a first aid kit, but there it is. Okay. So stuff like that, a little bit extra. And I have learned this little nylon bag is not waterproof. Put your stuff in a heavy duty Ziploc bag, or better yet, the Alok sacks, which are a surgical zip bag that I think this store has. I'll bet every store in town has it. Okay. So basic stuff. And you may have noticed or not, but there is a heavy duty zip whistle there. The silly little one that's on the sternum strap of your pack kind of goes, this one goes, whomp. That's what you want. So there we are. Okay. So we've covered the outer pockets. Have my water bottle. I was having a conversation with Priscilla about this. You know, okay, don't want to. So water. I carry a certain amount of water when I'm planning and preparing. Remember, number one on the leave no trace is plan ahead. Do I have a water source? If I have a handy water source, I'm not going to carry a ton of water. I'm going to go fill up either an Nalgene bottle with river water, creek water. I'm going to put it back together. And that thing's a filter. It's a life straw. And there we go. All right. It's not my favorite way to drink water. It's just a personal thing. But if I'm traveling with 2 or 3 people, then I bring the classic Katadyn gravity water filter. It's a bag, you hang it up, and when you fill it up at the creek, you hang it up. It's got a hose, you stick it in your bottle, it goes dribble, 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 dribble. It's actually faster than you think. So it's a great combo depending on what your needs are for the particular trip you're taking. Okay. And just another word, but Nalgene bottles aren't the lightest bottles on the earth, but they are super durable. And just think about it. If you take a hydration pack, make sure you take some repair tape. And Nalgene's, it's like, what the heck? But that gives me water filter without fuss. And I've had pumps and all the rest of it, and they're a nuisance. So, okay. Let me get that out of the way. All right, what's next in the bag? All right. Coming up next is fire. Okay, this is my entire cook kit here. It's got one of my meals. This is pasta with cheese. It's from the supermarket. It's Annie's organic pasta. Okay. For the amount of hiking you're doing, I'm all for going cheap, etc. But having sold dehydrated meals for 30 odd years, they're way better than you think now. And we did a river trip and did a taste testing thing. And it was so funny because one liked the spaghetti from one brand, one liked the spaghetti from another. But simple meals, keep it light, keep it tight. And there was a lot of food in these things. I mean, this, if you did the whole, it's 2 servings per container. It's 670 calories. I'd have a lot of trouble putting down 670 calories. Okay. And so I might cook that for dinner and then eat the leftovers for breakfast.
So, sounds good.
Yep. So, stove. So, let's see what's in here. Wow.
So it's pretty pink.
Isn't that beautiful? That pink? It's my rope to hang a bear bag. Okay.
You can't miss it.
Exactly. Can't leave it behind. That's what's really up there. My fork and spoon. I can get them apart. It slides, but my fingers are all split. There we go. Fork, spoon. They make single units, but I like this because it fit inside my pot. There's my knife, my matches. This is the stove. It's got a little four thing here. You guys have seen this, I'm sure most of you. Screws on the canister, slips on, sits up there, point, and I'm good cooking. Okay. I'm boiling water, pour my water in the bag and eat it out of the bag. So there we go. And I'm a firm believer, light and tight. Keep it snug, keep it compact. I actually took a file and just trimmed the ends of this so that it would slide right down in the pot and sit down there properly. So, and all this stuff goes around it, including my lovely pink rope that everybody's going like, that's yours. But yeah, it is. And there we go. This has a little handle on it, and it has a little wind guard down here. So it's a little easier than just having the flame exposed. So whole thing. And you saw me pull it out of the stuff sack somewhere around here, wherever I tossed it. But the whole idea of the stuff sack is the cleaner you keep your gear, the more it's going to function, the longer it's going to last. And things get a little mucky sometimes. So certain things I like to keep in a stuff sack. And one of them is this. Okay, just I don't want my sleeping bag catching on corners or any of the rest of it. It just makes it nice and simple. So there we go. Okay. I did this about 3 days ago, so I have to double check what I did. Aha. My spare socks, underwear, aha, and my lightweight long john bottoms, just in case the temperature drops a lot. At nighttime, you're in your campsite. I can't go to bed at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whenever it gets dark. I'd be waking up at 4 in the morning. So, but having a pair of light long johns in case the temperature drops or after that afternoon rain when you're just chilled. I forgot to show you my pan scraper. Couldn't get much simpler, could it? So basic stuff. And I do like to keep my organized. When I would go through this pack after I've sort of pulled everything together and tested how I want it to fit, I might decide to ditch a stuff sack or two, depending on where I can tuck it. But for this purposes, it was easy to stuff sack it up. Okay. This is my pad. It's 1.5 inches thick. It's a self-inflating, Thermarest or Thermarest knockoff, just as fundamental as it gets. It's just enough for me to be comfortable. And if it's a little colder, I can put an extra layer over my bag or under my bag, but it's real simple, real basic pad. And I actually weighed this against one of the insulated air mattresses, and they were just, I think they were within 1 ounce of each other. So use, you're saving ounces and you're trying to think, keeping it light, but always remember, will I be comfortable? All right. I find myself, I'm more comfortable on a foam pad. There's something about it. I fall off, slide off of air mattresses all the time. It never just really worked for me. So, but if they work for you, then go for it. Okay. If a 1/2 inch Insulite pad is good for you, go for it. They're usually better for that 18-year-old male that can fall asleep on his feet, or on draped over a rock. For me, I want a little more cushion and a good night's sleep. It makes a huge difference in how much fun you have out there. So you'll see some more about comfort. Here's my headlamp. My headlamp has a red light on it. And it is it makes a big difference. I like to lay out and look at the stars, etc. So when you're buying, this is a heavy one. This is actually because I couldn't find my lightweight. But you want something with a red light on it. It's much easier. If you get flashed with a white headlamp, it's 30 plus minutes before your eyes adjust back to the dark. And if you like to sit there and look at the stars and all the rest of it, you get pretty annoyed if you get flashed with a white light. So don't be the flasher in this case, okay? So, and in fact, that one just came on. It's there we go.
We've got quite a few people that just joined us. So,
oh, cool. Welcome, everybody. And the chat room's open. Put your questions in there, and we will circle back on them, okay? So, looking in here. Okay. So, we're going through the contents of my backpack to catch you up. So, next thing. Okay. This is my tent. All right. And I just got this thing. It's been on one trip. Got it last summer. And it's about 2.5, maybe 2.9 ounces or something like that. Love it. It's a 2-person tent. And that's a great in theory. But I call it a 2-person tent for the first 3 weeks of the relationship. All right. Then it's a fabulous 1-person tent with enough room to roll over and wiggle around and be comfortable. And comfort is key. I mean, you're up here to have fun. You don't have to be squished in a tent, falling all over somebody, but you might have to save a little money to invest in some of this gear. And I'll talk about buying and that kind of thing and how to save some money and all that as we get towards the end. But I want to make sure we cover everything we need to. This is my, it's my snack bars. This is my lunch and my breakfast supplements to those meals. I don't need, 5,000 calories a day when I'm backpacking. Most of us don't even need any extra anyway. So, but that's enough to give me something for breakfast, something for dinner, something for lunch. Okay. All right. Toiletries. There's sunscreen in here. There's lip balm in here. So it's a little thing of toothpaste, toothbrush. It's in one of those bomb-proof bags. Some aspirin, and I think some meds. Basic. Lip balm, and hand cream. I mean, how much do you need for 3 days, right? So don't pack the 8-ounce container. All right. So now we're going to talk about sleeping. All right. And we have emptied this pack. So, except for my map, it's up in the top pocket. And that day's RX bar. So sleeping. My sleeping bag. There's two schools of thought on whether you use stuff sacks or whether you use a rain cover on your pack. And I do a little of both. I try to pack anything that I categorically do not want to get wet in a dry bag, an ultralight dry bag, not the one you use rafting, but an ultralight dry bag. And this is my 30-degree, I think, sleeping bag. Nice compact thing. It drops all the way in the bottom of my pack. I'm going to turn around and show you this bag right here, because this is actually what I sleep in, which is the Sierra Designs backcountry bed. All right. And I'm going to talk a little about sleeping bags. There's the traditional mummy bags. You've seen them. They're terrific. If you sleep on your back, they're comfortable. It works. If you're the other extreme in a thrasher, something like this allows you to sleep all different ways. It allows you to regulate the temperature so that this little thing unhooks. You still hear me okay? I think so. Okay, this thing unhooks so that I can ventilate. I can stick my pad up the back. It's got a great big foot box, and if my feet get warm, I can stick my feet out the bottom and ventilate. All right. There's so many different changes in gear right now, especially sleeping bags are getting the benefit of the design right now. This is a Nemo one that they've made for the side sleeper. Okay. It's got a little flap, so when you're sleeping on your side, it'll come up and keep your head warm. It's also got some ventilation panels so that if you get overheated, you can open it up, or if you want more space, and you can close it if 4 in the morning you roll over and you're cold. All right. So, but this is a little lighter and smaller. It's a different temperature rating than this one. This one, though, got fully packed. A couple other things. Told you I was chronically cold at the beginning. I'm chronically cold. All right. I like a pillow. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. But looks pretty flat, doesn't it? Remember that jacket we unpacked? We now have a pillow because it has just a little bit of quilting. I don't get the zipper tab in my right ear. Okay. Guaranteed to wake you up. All right. And if I want it, I lost my little pad there, but that little pad I showed you at the beginning, this thing will actually go underneath the sleeping bag and will actually lift my head up a little bit more if I want a little more rise in my pillow. But it's a simple little thing, multi-use, and makes a big difference in how you sleep. And then this is another one of my little discoveries that we've all seen down booties or camp booties, and they tend to have a thick foam sole and they have a rand, a strip all the way around to prevent wear. These are tent booties. They got a little traction, but you're not supposed to go hiking all over the campsite with them. These are for sleeping. And I've done the whole game with sleeping with socks on, and I hate it. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't work. I'm like conscious of those socks all night long. Okay. And I tried these out. I did a winter Grand Canyon trip this year. Okay. And the temperatures, I mean, I was looking at it, it was going to be down in the 20s and all this. And I was like, if I get cold and I'm on the water, it's going to be a miserable trip. Okay. So I bought my dry suit and I row and all that. But these things are probably one of the coolest things I've bought in a long time. Goes right up there with my really cool pillow because it's about getting a good night's sleep. And if you get that and you're up there on the trail, you can put up with funky food, little grit, sand, and water in your water. You can put up with the afternoon rain. But if you're cold and you stay cold, you're miserable. And there's a perception that women are the one that get really miserable and really cold. And yes, we do. And so do the guys. And I was wandering around the store here because I discovered these by accident last winter, but these guys sell them. And I was like, Yes. Finally, something warm. It doesn't bind around your leg. It's comfortable. And frankly, the bottoms of most of the sleeping bags have a lot less insulation in them now because they're realizing it doesn't matter because it gets compressed. So something like this changes the whole game. So how we do? Oh, we're looking good on time. So that's kind of the overview of the gear. And if you remember your 10 essentials, okay, we got navigation. We got that compass. We have that map someplace, right? We found the headlamp. We got sunscreen. We've got a first aid kit. We got a knife and repair. We've got a means to start a fire. We have a stove, okay? We've got shelter. We've got nutrition. We've got hydration. And we've got extra clothes. So between the clothes that I start out wearing and the clothes that I add, I'm covered. When we look over at the leave no trace, excuse me, look at the leave no trace 7 principles. Oh, wait a minute. We've got number 11 on the 10 essentials. Remember number 11? What was that? It was your wag bag. This is called a rest stop. And this ties as much with leave no trace as it does the 10 essentials. Okay, so I'm going to cover that in a second. So the leave no trace, plan ahead and prepare. I laid everything out. You should see my living room. I don't have pets and I don't have kids. It's perfect. I can lay my Tyvek footprint down and I can pull everything out. And I can check it. Going to travel on durable surfaces. What that means, stay on the trail. Okay. Stay on the trail. Or if you're up at the top and you're scrambling, stay on the rocks, not on any of the soil, not on the alpine plants. Dispose of waste properly. You should come back with more trash than you created yourself. So pick up trash. Dispose of waste properly. For those of you that live in the Southwest, I think you probably know, but ice lakes got just hammered last summer. The outdoors, in fact, as a general thing, got hammered. And it's a good problem to have. People got in the outdoors, and we've probably got a lot more converts now. And they had a good time. But facilities weren't set up for it. And Ice Lakes is one of the iconic hikes in the country. And people want to hit it. Well, the damage from backpackers was high because there's no designated campsites. The damage from day hikers is high. Excuse me. And if you think about it, but if you got to poop, you carry a trowel. And I could not find mine, and we couldn't find one in the store today because they sold out. But you want to carry a trowel and dig a hole 6 to 8 inches deep. Well, on a 3-day backpacking trip, you carried food in, you produced a certain amount of poop, carry it out. Because frankly, we just don't need that many cat holes dug all over the wilderness. And these are
especially in tundra.
Especially in tundra. And but they're very easy to use, they're very efficient. And I will add another piece to it, but a lot of people on a backpacking trip, the combination of the exercise, the food that they've chosen to eat, can have some gastrointestinal issues. And so it's a great emergency groover. Latrine. Okay.
And there was a question in the chat box
Yes.
about the those booties. So people wanted to know where the best place to get them.
As a matter of fact, there's a whole wall full over in the backcountry experience footwear department. And remind me afterwards to talk about buying local.
Okay.
All right, I want to finish the poop.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. It's a good question. So you got your wag bag. TP is the other issue. We've all seen it out on the trails.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody got, the dumb stuff in life. They got a little piece of reusable TP. Has a lovely little pattern on the front, happens to be moisture proof, and a white side. And you can swish it in a little water hanging off the back of your pack.
Micro by whatever.
It's micro. Priscilla just messed me up. You know what it is, that it's hygienic. Okay. And you can hang it on the back of your backpack and a layer dry. So,
And we sell them. At
and San Juan Mountain Association sells them. And it's called the Kula cloth.
Yep.
Okay. Kula. Bottom line is, hey, have you got any of that permanent toilet paper? And they'll know what you're asking for. All right. Very handy, particularly for the ladies. okay? And you got this, and you got your rest stop. And frankly, on a 3-day trip, you know, leave a little urine in the wilderness, on pine needles, on rocks. And there was a third thing, I think it's just some vegetation, but not directly in the water source, but just out there. Be discreet, but you got to pee. And pee vanishes so much faster than anything else, unless everybody decides to pee in the same spot, which is a river problem that they've been addressing. So anyway, there's your full.
Leave no trace of, take out your waste management.
Yep, this is waste management. Dispose of your waste properly. It is your backpacking bathroom. There you go. And when you add to the toiletries, you have the entire package. Okay, so done. Next leave no trace thing that I want to just touch on, which is minimize campfire impacts. If you're backpacking, if you're going into a pre-built site that does have a fire ring, then use the fire ring. But if you're going up into the mountains and it's not pre-designated campsites and there's no fire ring, think twice, okay? First, we're probably going to have another fire ban this year if we don't already.
Know your fire restrictions before you go.
Exactly. Know your fire restrictions. Priscilla's got the lingo. I've got the practice. But you know, a big roaring campfire isn't really necessary. And if you've been paying attention, there's fabulous meteor showers going on right now. So instead of messing up your night vision looking into a fire, let's just lay on top of your sleeping bag, on top of your footprint, and look at the stars. Okay. Wildlife. Again, if you live in Colorado, you're kind of aware of the wildlife issues, but respect the wildlife. You know, keep your distance, stay alert, and frankly, don't harass, don't startle, and just let them have the right of way. They'll get out of your way soon enough. So I have a yard full of deer right now. So it, and the first time I ran out the front door and there was a buck about 5 feet away from me, it was like, whoa, backpedaled in. But now I look before I go out my front door. So, but respect the wildlife. All right. Don't tease, don't pick up the snakes. The first thing they hear in the emergency room from state bite this, what were you doing? Well, I went to pick it and they got bitten. Okay. And then the last, and I think this is really a key leave no trace thing, but this is the leave no trace of don't ruin somebody else's experience. Be considerate of other visitors, whether it's trail runners or horse riders or the llama ladies or cyclists, whatever. You know, you yield to animals first, and then walkers are next, and cyclists yield to walkers. So there's a little triangle where it goes, the order. But animals have the right of way. As a pedestrian, you're second, and the wheels are the last. But be considerate of others. It also goes to teaching others about leave no trace. Talk about things, you know, the wildflowers. People pick wildflowers. Well, maybe instead of, you know, you instead say, hey, you know, you take the kids, aren't they beautiful? And you know, if they stay there and you don't pick them, they'll be beautiful for the next 3 weeks, kind of thing. So educate, be considerate, educate, and recognize that everybody's out there with the same end in mind, which is to enjoy the outdoors. So circling back, we got just a touch of time, and then we're going to repack the pack to a degree. I go to my mountaineers.org to look at the 10 essentials. I go to the Leave No Trace to refresh my brain on what Leave No Trace is doing. I go to the San Juan Mountain Association thing to catch up on what are the fire restrictions, what's what. And I go up to San Juan Mountain Association to buy myself a new map, because I swear, you know, these maps are waterproof, they're tough, they're kind of pricey. And you know what? I probably lose them every second trip because I give it to somebody else that I've been with, who's coming into the area and says, take the map, it's a great souvenir. So, and if you haven't been up to the San Juan shop, I'm just going to put a blatant plug in for it, which is, it's the map center. It's the source of information for the Southwest hiking. So
Another
Yes. What's the
question
other
in
question?
chat about whether or not you carry a spot or any of those devices like an inReach or anything.
The first thing I do at the trailhead is take my phone and power it down. And most of the time I leave it in the car. No, I don't. I know that they have a huge value. I think if I was doing a major trip that was well out, if I was bushwhacking, I'd certainly use something along those lines. However, I personally find that staying connected changes the experience. And I've had it brought home to me on several different kinds of trips, on bike trips, on where people are using a GPS to navigate rather than learning which way is north and navigating themselves. I've seen it on river trips where halfway through the trip, if you're even on the San Juan, they turn around, turn their phones on as they go through Mexican Hat. And all of a sudden you're reconnected with the world. And frankly, right now, I don't feel a need to be connected with the world 24/7. Okay. So I try to
I guess
leave.
it's a personal choice.
It's a personal choice. And women's backpacks make a difference. So I bought this last year, I guess, somewhere in there. It's got a belt that curves properly. I haven't even fully adjusted this one. Actually, I got a slightly bigger one. So see if I can come up here and it's a little easier to see. But I got my pack loaded and I'm going to get it down and start with my hips. And when you're fitting your pack and you're got the load in it, you start at the bottom, your hips, your shoulders, and last is your sternum strap. And I bought the pack based on the chart. And I was really close, but I was just slightly more towards the small. And I got it and I loaded it and it just didn't feel right. And in the end, I upsized and got the medium. And that puts the weight where I want it, down where I wear my hip belt. It's a hip belt for me. It's not a waist belt. All right. And had I walked in this case, the Backcountry Experience, which happens to be, are you ready? The largest distributor of Osprey packs in the world. The world,
Pretty
not
neat.
Colorado.
Are you sure?
I am positive.
Oh, wow.
This is it's a fulfillment center. So a lot of times when you buy something online, guess who's shipping it to you? Backcountry Experience.
Wow.
But if I'd walked in here and tried on the pack, which is what we did with Priscilla, we came in here and we tried on a couple packs and we tried the different sizes and we put different weights in it. And in the end, she was a small. And Priscilla's 5 foot.
5'1".
5'1" when she's standing on her toes. Okay. And I'm 5'7" still, but going down. So getting the right fit for your gear, buying the right gear, hearing how the gear operates is worth more than you can think. Okay. And picking the right pack. Talk quickly about loading this up. First thing I do, one of the things I liked about this particular bag, this waterproof dry bag, was that it was rectangular and it goes in my pack and it goes all the way in the bottom and it rolls sideways and I can pack it flat. Okay. And it's light and it provides a foundation for my tent, for my pad. Notice I'm packing them vertically for whatever. So I just stuck it in and I'm going to center this because it's a little heavier than the other stuff right down the middle. Okay. And my objective is to get the weight vertical between my waist and my shoulder blades. Okay. So not all the way up within my neck. I want the heaviest stuff close to my back so it doesn't start pulling me back. I don't want it way low where it tugs down on my waist. I don't want it sitting right where it cuts into my shoulder straps, any of that. So go for it. The lighter stuff goes in and all this stuff will actually fit in here. It's amazing the spots. This was my socks. This will go all the way down, all the way through to the base, all the way into the little hole that's down here next to the hip belt. Pack your pack tight, compact, snug. Okay. And we'll just do that because we don't get everything spread out. Leaving my pack laying on the ground, I'm going to look to the side and I'm going to find the compression straps. And I'm going to start cinching them up. And I'm going to cinch them up all the way through. And I'm going to do it on the other side. Same thing. Cinch it down. Here it is. This particular pack, it cinches from the top and cinches down here at the bottom. Okay. And in doing that, and this is just a demo, don't comment on this hole right here. It flattens the pack out so that all that weight stays tight to my back and I don't have this going down the trail with the pack pulling me backwards.
So someone's asking how much weight you typically carry,
I had 22.5 pounds yesterday.
even with all that great gear.
With all that great gear, with one of my water bottles full, I think that going through, and I would take some of the stuff sacks out, sounds silly, but an ounce is an ounce is an ounce, and 16 of them are a pound. Okay.
Last we checked.
Last time we checked. So maybe I get rid of this little ditty bag. Okay. And I start going, okay, what don't I need? You pack once, then you unpack and you think it through and go, what did I forget? You go back to your checklist and then you pack again. And frankly, you know, you're going to eat the food on the trail, but you're carrying your waste out. So you turn around and 22.5 pounds is pretty good.
What's your footprint?
Oh, I'm sorry. Footprint. That's a great question, Priscilla. Footprint is just either, in this case, it's a piece of Tyvek. Normally it's a piece of nylon, a coated nylon that you put down on the ground. You put your tent on top of it. They're cut to size. Do not get a footprint that sticks out past the bottom of the tent. Water will pool on it, come underneath and percolate up through your floor. They protect the floor. They add an extra layer of waterproofness and they really increase the longevity of your tent. Why would I want to buy an expensive piece of gear or any gear, frankly, clothing? You know, why would I want to buy it online to save myself 20%, wait to get it, find out it doesn't fit or it doesn't work, and have to return it? Your local retailer, and I was a retailer, your local retailer pays business taxes, property taxes, payroll taxes, employs people in your community, and in any smaller city or town is the person you go to every time you want a donation to your favorite nonprofit. And the big companies, they give millions to nonprofits, etc. But the trickle down effect to your small town is pretty much $0. So support your local retailer. But at the same time, be a smart consumer. You might not be able to afford it at $500, but you can probably squeak it out at $400, especially if you do a lot of camping and you didn't spend money on 16 other things. Priscilla works at San Juan Mountain Association. I'm her sidekick. If you want to get a hold of me, contact San Juan Mountain. She'll hook us up. All right. And if you have other questions, fire them off to her. I'd be happy to help anybody. This is my passion.
I've been making a list tonight of all the things that Anne has in her bag, and I think I'll try to put it together so that we can have something available if
That would
anybody
be
wants
great. Yeah.
to get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Again, we want to just say a great thank you to you all for being here. This is like the first time we ever attempted to do a virtual clinic, and we're happy to see that so many people came. We hope you learned something valuable and great from it, even if it was just one thing. And huge thank you to Backcountry for letting us barge in here and hang out and display some of their stuff. And a special thank to Anne for giving up a lot of her time to organize all of this.
Well, now I'm ready for the season.
Yeah, now
Okay.
she's ready for
And
the
I got my
season.
really cool gloves.
Now I got a big list of stuff I got to
Yeah,
buy.
Priscilla's needs gear, and it's not
You know, let's see if there's
deliberate,
questions.
but I will say this: the gloves, the rain gear, the really cool booties are all outdoor research, and it's you know, I'll put in a plug for them because I'm actually pretty pleased with what they're doing for minimalist design. And each thing you buy
Shoot, I
has
left-
to be special. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. And talk to Priscilla with questions, and we'll see you later. And another show's coming up. So
Yeah, happy trails. And remember, you leave no trace. Let's help keep the San Juans as beautiful as they always have been. And we'll look forward to seeing you at another time.
and